Hey, welcome to the green room.
Hey, what do you think of this place? Pretty nice, huh?
Not bad,
I'm getting ready for the interview, getting mentally ready, getting physically ready to go down the hall and do this thing.
Well, who's on the show tonight?
Who's on the show tonight? Only a guy it took me 3 years to get to come out to a Potters game, and yet when I asked him to come on the interview show, he said right away, I'll be there, and he's already here. The great Tom Mailey is with me today. I'm looking forward to this so much. Such a fun guy.
Well, I think you got a fish on the line. You don't want to leave him waiting, do you?
You know, I better get down there, huh?
Yeah.
If you could follow me, I'll show you how to get down there. You just go down this super long hallway here.
All right.
And then come down this. It's Tom Mailey from KNCI, Pat and Tom Show. He's right in here. Come on.
Coming to you live from the Stone Studios, it's The Phantoms Talk Show, filmed in front of a live studio audience of one.
Admired you as Mr. Basketball.
Yes, we'll talk about that, Jerry.
And certainly I have no gender reveal. I've been more or less a man, as far as I know.
More or less, I think, is the key.
Yeah.
What exactly are you the GOAT of? Is it prep reporting? Is it high schools? Is it college? What are you? You're definitely the GOAT. But what of? Well, what's too far for mom to drive? And I want to get outside because I had one of those who goes, I think Fullerton's far enough away that mom can't come on a Thursday.
A bar, restaurant, whatever it may be, something to find.
I like how you go lessons or working at a bar.
It's one or the other. Yeah. It's one or the other.
They're like, really didn't pay much attention to me. So I thought, well, maybe I can make Tom laugh and maybe I'll get on the country show.
This week's guest is Tom Mailey. And now, the guy you've all been waiting for. It's The Phantom.
Hello and welcome to the Phantom Talk Show. I'm Phantom. My guest today, you know from over 30 years of country radio here in the Sacramento area, it's Tom Mailey from the Pat and Tom Show. Tom, thanks for finding us over here and coming by.
Thanks. It's just like between two ferns, except
it is.
We're, I don't know.
Yeah, well said. But I was just going to say, I guess the invitation was a little bit vague. You're dressed like you're going on safari. All I need is a pith helmet, and I think Stone's has one. We'll go out and hunt some tigers if you want, if that's what you want to do.
I thought I looked more like a Cuban, revolutionary.
My guest today is Shay Guevara. Shay, how's it going?
Jungle's a little hot, but we're doing okay.
Yes, we're doing okay. Watch out for the insurgents. So over 30 years in the area. Now, I've known you about 25 years, okay? Because we were at KHTK. We're right across the hall from you guys at KNCI. All I remember is I spent most of my energy in those days just trying to come over to your studio during breaks and trying to make you guys laugh. If I would have done more energy on my own show, I wouldn't be doing a YouTube show right now. So my question to you,
yes,
did you and Pat and then Julie at one time and then Louise later, did you ever say, if we turn the lights out and, block the window, maybe he'll think we're not here and he won't come over and bug us? Was that ever a thought?
The thing about our show is compassion has always been a big component.
Yes.
And, if you were coming over looking for a handout, who are we to say no?
I was coming over to get validation because my own show, they're really didn't pay much attention to me. So I thought, well, maybe I can make Tom laugh and maybe I'll get on the country show. Well, it was just a lot of fun to come over there and stuff. And I was doing research for this interview. I know that's a shocker. And I Googled you and not much came up. I just wanted to say.
Did you find the Tom Mailey that looks like George Costanza and he's a weatherman in Buffalo, New York?
I did. And I messaged him. I said, can you make it out here?
Did he not reply to you either? Because I sent him a message a long time ago because he spelled his name exactly the way mine does. And I'm like, we've got to be long lost cousins. There's got to be some kind of ancestry, from Ireland. And so I reached out to the guy. I said, hey, my name's spelled exactly like yours. We're both in the broadcasting business. Guy never got back to me. I probably needed a better lead.
That was your thought? Hey, you spell your name the same way I do. We must be related. Hopefully.
I just was trying to break the ice a little bit. But.
So anyway, I found one thing that that commemorated you and Pat at 30 years, and in the article it said Pat was quoted as saying, "Tom Mailey, I never met anybody who doesn't like Tom." And I said, "Well, that's amazing because I thought I'd met Pat." So I don't know how he could say that.
Is that why I'm here? You're going to tell me you don't like me? You're the one?
I think I don't need to tell you. But it's kind of a strange thing to say about somebody, but I think that's pretty cool. How does that make you feel? Somebody says that about you, and if they mean it.
Well, I mean, I suffer from imposter syndrome anyway, so I don't believe it.
But that's got to be, I mean, it's somewhat, I mean, you last 30 years at something, especially, you know, on the air. I mean, there's got to be a certain amount of likability, and you're taking it to the next level.
Yeah, literally. Everybody in the world loves me except for the guy in Buffalo, New York who shares my name.
Well, he has to love you because your name is spelled exactly the same.
No,
right?
that's why he hates me.
Yeah. Well, I must like you, though, because I keep inventing these events that I can invite you to.
Me too.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I told Stones, I said, look, I want to do a talk show because I want to talk to people in the area. And he said, oh, that sounds good. I really just wanted to get you over here. And now I'm beginning to rue the day that I thought of that.
This is reminding me a little bit like back in our day when if there was really nothing on TV, you'd go to the UHF channel.
Yes, and there'd be two guys, one of them dressed for safari, and they'd be talking
about a safari.
But the other thing that I did, okay, so I worked for the Potters, for the Lincoln Potters, Stones,
Yes.
and I worked for 6 summers, just so I could at some point use my leverage to get you out there. It took a long time,
Yeah.
but
It was
once we finally did it,
that was so much fun.
why did it take us so long? Because you were so in your element.
I don't know, but that was so much fun. And anybody who hasn't listened to Phantom do his play-by-play, he's, of all the announcers, he's one of them. And it was just a great...
I am of that number. Yes, I am.
No, I had so much fun. And you're so easy to talk with, probably because we have a shared history
A little
together.
bit, yeah.
But you're also you're just great to like throw ideas off of and bounce back and forth with, and I think the beers helped.
The beers
a little
helped,
bit,
especially on your part. Yeah. We made sure that they never more than half empty. I'll tell you that right now.
But that was I had so much fun, and I'm not a real baseball guy, and I wasn't sure what I was. I don't think I actually contributed any useful information other than the gravity of the moon.
See, that's the thing. You say, well, I'm not a baseball guy. I didn't contribute anything. You came up with a theory, a philosophy, a theory that I think I'm surprised that more people don't embrace, which is to say that the moon's gravitational pull has an effect on fly balls, which I mocked in the beginning.
Yeah, you did.
But you were proven correct. We saw a play where the outfielder camped underneath the ball and it moved at the last second, and the moon was right over where it ended up.
It moved towards the full moon. There was a full moon over center field, and there were a lot of balls being jacked out, and I just thought that maybe there was a little bit of pull coming from the moon. Sometimes, you have to have somebody with outside thinking come into a
outside
situation.
the box?
Yes,
Like someone
outside the diamond.
Or we could say someone who doesn't know anything. Maybe we just say it that way.
Right.
But that day when we were doing that game, you paid me a compliment, and I know you didn't mean to, but you said I was really good at doing that. And the reason I bring that up is, first of all, to inflate my own ego, but secondly, because there are very few people I will accept a compliment from these days. After all these years in the business and stuff, people say stuff, and you kind of go, yeah, whatever. And I'm wondering, I mean, you've been on the radio for 30 years, obviously very successful. How do you handle outside a reaction to your job, whether it's like people giving you compliments or stuff? Do you take them to heart? Do you kind of just say whatever?
No, I mean I'm grateful for every single person who actually still listens to the radio, first of all.
Absolutely.
And I've got a story to illustrate that in just a second, but it's always it's always flattering, it's always humbling. You never feel like you deserve like if there are accolades, it's like I'm glad that once in a while somebody says they're a KNCI fan or whatever, or a Pat, Tom, and Cody fan. Yeah, I mean, just talking about it makes me uncomfortable.
I know, but I know that over the 3 decades in radio, you're going to get a lot of input, not only from fans, but also from higher ups. I mean, you guys have been on the air for 30 years, so at some point, it's kind of like we know what we're doing, but you also have to listen to outside people in your own building, right? How do you deal with that?
I think you have to take everything with a grain of salt and just focus on what we do. And I think that I work with 2 really incredible people that make that easy. And you know the way it is. You're in a box. You get absolutely no reaction from the people that you're interacting with. And so even if you think something lands, you don't know for sure. You have no idea. And the only time you find out is a couple of months down the road when the ratings come out, and they're either maybe up a little bit or down a little bit or down a lot or up a little. You kind of have to like put all that aside and just do what we know to do, and just try to have fun amongst ourselves and hope that people are on board with it.
Yeah, and then
Does
maybe
that make sense?
Absolutely. Maybe 2 or 3 months down the road, someone will come up to you at an event or something and go, "Hey, I loved when you did that one thing," right? I mean, that's kind of a little feedback, because at some point when you're in the room, I mean, you hear people say, "Well, we're just trying to make each other laugh." Well, that's good, but it doesn't always appeal to a wider audience. So, as far as that's concerned. So, I mean, when you get the response from someone who goes, "Hey, I really liked what you did," like I get it all the time. Hey, they say, "Hey, when you're on the Rise Guys, I really liked what you did on that one day." And I said, "Well, that was Whitey." So, I mean, and so it doesn't always go over that well, but I'm just saying, you get that from people. And I mean, I know you've gotten this, that people say something to you that, "Hey, when you did this one thing," and I have no memory whatsoever of doing that at all.
What I've found is it's not necessarily like a specific joke or a bit that people remember. It's actually like when you do something, and this is one of the things I love about what we do, is we can actually do some good things once in a while.
You do a lot of good things. Yeah.
We do. We have a thing called Be the Good, where we try to show an initiative on if like right now we're trying to. There's a lady named Jen Sweeney, and she lives in Folsom, and she's a children's book author, and she's been collecting books to send off to Maui. And she wants to help rebuild she initially started collecting books so kids can read to kids, and it blew up and turned into something else. And she reached out to us. We've been kind of passing along information about her progress, and it's gotten to the point now she has, I think, and I'm not exaggerating, she told us she's got like 6 tons of books that she's collected so far that she is now working on getting shipped over to Maui, and they actually think that they'll be able to use these books to kind of seed a new library in Lahaina when it's time to build a new one. And that's the kind of thing that was something that was almost like turnkey. She got a hold of us,
right,
and then we were able to turn around. But to have that platform, to be able to do that, because you could easily say, "Nah, let somebody else do." It's awesome, There's only so much, you control you have over anything, and so if you can do something good every now and then, and it seems like those are the things that come back to us later,
right? Well, we used to have back a long time ago, I don't know if they still do, when there was an event such as that, they would have radio relief, and we would go set up at Cal Expo, and people would come by and stuff, and you do that. But it sounds like, people are so used to you guys doing stuff like that, you're an obvious choice to reach out to, because my first question would be, you have 6 tons of books, where are they? That's what I mean, where are you keeping them? I want to know. That would be my only question. So, I mean, you're handling it the right way.
Actually,
I think probably doing it better the way that you're doing it.
They're at her house.
Yeah, so
you do have to
a spare room. Yeah,
no, literally like her garage, and she's got like a back area, and she has to get these things moved. The logistics are the next.
When it rains, it's going to be really tough.
That's why she actually just had them moved into her garage from her front patio, her front porch. But anyway, no, I mean, we do our due diligence as far as that goes. You have to.
Yes, absolutely.
And you vet, and a lot of times we will try and find something. We'll, take the initiative. But that's the thing that it seems like people remember. But 2 quick examples. One, I took a friend of a friend fishing on Sunday. I do a little bit of fishing.
We are going to talk about that later. Don't worry about that.
And he had his
check my notes, make sure it's
11 or 12-year-old daughter, and she's a huge fan of the show, and in particular Cody. And when she found out what I do, she was just like over the moon. And she was had her call Cody, and that was super cool. And it was great to have that. And that's one of those moments where it's like, oh, that's neat,
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially a young person listening to the radio. That's an anomaly. But the day before, I was at Sutter Health getting blood drawn because I just recently had a physical.
Okay.
Yeah, so 7 o'clock
when you get to your age, sure.
Absolutely.
Do every 6 months
every 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm in there, and the young lady, she's 25, 26 years old. She goes, I sit down, and she's like making small talk. So what do you do for a living? And I said, I'm a radio DJ. And she goes, oh, what's that? So then I explained. I said, "Well,
that's beautiful.
I talk on the radio." And she goes, "Oh, cool. Which arm do you want to use?"
Did she know about the guy in Buffalo that has the same name as you? Because Matt may have been a better story. I'm just thinking maybe you throw that at her.
We didn't get that far. She drew the button. I was out.
Her opening line didn't. It was Led Zeppelin, as we used to say. So, yeah, that's too bad. Well, nice try, though. That's good. So, I saw in this one article that was on Google about you, which is the only, even I haven't something in the Lincoln News Messenger. But anyway, so in there it said you came out here about a little over 30 years ago,
yes.
With a little baby and everything. And, I don't know where you got it. But anyway, you come out here and I'm just wondering, we talk about it 30 years in the past, but that first day, the first week with Pat, was it something that you guys had met before or were you thrown together? Because I'm fascinated about, because even the best partnerships, you start off and you kind of go, I don't know. There's at least one day you go home and go, hon, I think we might want to go back up north. Okay,
I'm sure there was that feeling with Pat getting to know me. I worked in Seattle at a country station up there, and our program director there was a regional program director for our then small company, which included KNCI, and at that time it was KRAK, and and Pat had just come in to do the morning show with a woman named Lisa Kay, and he wanted a third person, and so he'd been talking to my program director up there, who also worked with him down here, and he thought that I might be a good fit, so I came down, and we met a couple of times, but no, that first week, in fact, I remember the night before the first day, I was like in total insomnia.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
What have I done? Oh my God, questioning everything. But Pat made it easy from the get-go, and the people who were at the station at that time also made it easy. So the transition was pretty good. I think the insecurity part of this business, and that has always been.
Well, you look at me when you say that. You say insecurity, you put the accent on that. I think the insecurity part of this business. No, please continue. This is fascinating.
I've always been insecure about what I do, and so I guess that's what drives me. Is I try to be better than the day before, because I've never had a perfect break or a perfect show.
Let me ask you, when you were doing a country up in Seattle, were you leading the show? Were you part of a team?
No, I was doing evenings. I was hosting a request and dedication show called Crying, Loving, or Leaving.
And we let that go. So country music is huge now, but back
by the way, my name in Seattle, Commander Tom. I was Commander Tom.
Okay, we need to write that down.
And
is that what did you? The safari outfit come from that, or is that where we got that?
No,
because I was thinking, now country radio is huge now. But I'm thinking in the '90s when you're doing country, did you drive a taxi as well, or was it a full-time job?
It was late '80s, early '90s, and when they hired me full-time, and I'd been working at a small station in Bremerton, Washington before that called KBRO.
Wait a minute, KBRO Commander Tom?
No, there I was Tom Hansen. So.
Tom Hansen.
I got the Hansen from a cousin.
Did they not know about the Mailey guy in Buffalo then?
They did, no, at that time.
So at that time, nobody knew about him.
Was decades later.
So Tom Hansen in Bremerton becomes Commander Tom in
Seattle. And the reason I became Commander Tom is my program director, after he hired me, he said, you need a radio name.
Look like a commander?
He goes, we need to give you a fun name. What about Banana Tom? And I was like, thanks for the compliment, but no.
Did you say thank you very much, print the T-shirts?
No, I said, I really am not crazy about that.
Why would he come up with the name Banana Tom?
He goes, this is an exact quote. He goes,
"You're from Brazil?
Your name and fruit just seem to go together." And I was
Tom?
I don't know why. I have no idea. I don't know if he was messing with me
Tom
or what.
Banana?
So then we started, spitballing. And
riffing. You started riffing?
We landed on Commander.
Yeah, Whitey always tells the story when he was when he was down in the Bay Area. At one time, they wanted him to be Stretch Bergmeyer. So I don't know if Stretch Bergmeyer is better than Commander Tom. It's way better than
1,000% better.
It's way better than Banana Tom.
Are you kidding me?
Because the Banana Tom guy, is he still in the business? Hopefully he's still around, but if he's still in the business, he shouldn't be.
Every remote, there would be unrealistic expectations for people meeting Banana Tom.
Hey, Banana Tom. And you'd say, hey, my eyes are up here. I mean, come on.
That's a God's honest true story. And on my card, I was night pilot. Yeah.
I'm glad you were not Banana Tom the Night Pilot, because that is I saw that movie in '87. Yeah, it was a double feature. A Deep Throat, I think. Yeah.
Was that on the Playboy After Hours?
So they pluck you out of the Commander Tom. So they go, Commander Tom really sings to me. I'm going to take him down and make him part of a morning show.
Right. And then I came down here and I was like, I have a little bit of dignity. I just want to use my name. And so when I got
was there any thought that you'd be anybody but Tom Mailey when you got here?
When I got here, I was Tom the News Guy.
Oh, that's okay.
For like 3
Tom
or 4
the news
years.
Guy.
Yeah.
Did you do the news for 3 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it was less than 3 years. I think it was like 2.5 years. And then KRAK AM made the transition to KHTK, which originally was home of the Kings.
Yes, it was.
And I was brought over actually to do the initial imaging for KHTK, doing the voice work and producing stuff.
Oh,
I did that for
I did not know that.
About 6 months. That was right before you guys got there. And then the woman Pat was working with, Lisa, she left, and Pat wanted me to come back over. So, in that time, I was still sort of working with him. But yeah,
Commander Tom on crack then.
Commander Tom was on crack for a while. Yes,
of course. And Banana Tom. Where was Banana Tom at this time? So when you got there with Pat and Lisa, were they like a he said, she said show, and you were a newsman? How was that set up?
Kind of, yeah. And I think it was a good way to like assimilate me to the show. Yeah, yeah. And so I did news from the news studio in that old building there. And, yeah.
Oh man,
yeah. I was in a little
Tom the News Guy, and now here's Tom the News Guy.
That's right.
At 6:32,
I was Tom the Everything Guy because then I would also go out and do stunts and things like that.
Oh, you were the stunt guy too?
Kind of a stunt guy, yeah.
Oh, I admire that because I could never have been the stunt guy.
Why?
I think I was too old when I got into radio. They'd say, "You want to go do this?" I say, "No, no, I'm not."
No, I was only 26, so I'm like, yeah, I'll go get bit by a sheriff's office canine, sure.
Yeah. Oh, I love that bit. They do that at the Potter's Games. Those are awesome.
I didn't even know until later that there's a suit that you can wear.
They didn't give you the suit. No, we need to go out in a bathing suit, Tom. Go out in a bathing suit, and the dogs will come after you, and then it'll be fine. Really, it's fine because we got our insurance paid up.
Spike want a banana?
So, hey, Banana Tom's out there, Spike, and Spike just took off. Yeah, are you kidding me? So that would indicate that you came out of high school, college time. You wanted to be radio all the time then?
Yes.
That was your thing?
Yes.
You were always going to be the radio guy?
Yeah,
because of your sparkling personality in high school. What tipped you off this?
Kind of. Radio seemed like a great way to avoid working for a living.
Yeah, and get cool nicknames
and great nicknames,
awesome nicknames.
And there was a station in Seattle, rock station we all listened to, was KISW, and the lineup they had, those jocks were amazing. To this day, they are my. I would be as thrilled to hang out with some of these guys as I would any, like major rock star. To me, they were just, and myself and a few friends, we thought, well, let's give this a try. And I started it in community college, and I was the one that stuck with it because the other two were smarter and they got real jobs.
And everybody liked you, as we've already established. So there we go. Everybody liked you. So
that's when I realized that.
Let's exactly.
Yeah.
So other things that you talked about fishing, but we'll get to that in a minute. Also, you went down and you were a podcaster for a while. You had a podcast, right, or a show? An interview show that I think I actually listened to one episode and it was pretty good.
That's the ringing endorsement.
No, it was pretty. Hey, it was pretty good. Banana Tom.
I listened to one. It was pretty good.
Banana Tom slays when he's talking country music.
What was the podcast about?
It was you were talking to songwriters.
Yes,
you talked not just not the star, but the songwriters. You'd say, well, Tom Duncan's written songs for Tanya Tucker and Reba McEntire, and I said, well, can't you write one for a guy? I mean, I don't know why, but. It just seemed, I listened to one of them and it was great, and you were very enthusiastic about the whole thing. I got some great guests on there.
I've always loved songwriting, and it's my favorite part of music. And so in 2018, I just decided to give it a shot, and I just wrapped it up. I just did the last episode last month with the guy who wrote The Dance for Garth Brooks, Tony Arata, which is a perfect kind of up note to end on. But I've managed to talk to, I think, 50 different songwriters who, like Ashley Gorley has 50 #1 songs that he's participated in writing. All these other songwriters, and it's just what was my favorite thing about it was hearing these people, these incredibly creative people. in the way they approached an incredibly creative process.
Now, did you seek them out, or did you know of them, or did somebody else help you find a little networking going on
Yeah, it was
here?
a little bit of here and there. Yeah. Sometimes a guest would help me get another guest. I'm acquainted with a couple of songwriters. They would help me get guests. There were some other people, and that's one of the reasons I kind of wrapped it up. It's getting tougher to track down songwriters.
There's no more songs. There's no more songwriters.
But it was. I would honestly. It's not because of me by any stretch. As likable as I am, these songwriters, what they talk about can benefit like almost anybody who has any kind of creative predilection. If you want to be more creative at your job, if you want to be more, I don't know, resourceful, there are some common through lines with the way they approach the craft that anybody can benefit from.
Well, you did over 50 episodes. You're an interviewer. Give me some tips. This is only my second or third interview, so give me some tips going forward. The first thing would be tell your guests not to dress for a safari. But what else? As an interviewer, what are you giving tips to people out there who are starting
light.
shows?
What we're doing right now. But
this
honestly,
is light.
What I love about you and what I love about Pat and a few other really funny people that I know, there are bad ideas.
There are definitely bad ideas.
But they lead to better ideas, and collaboration. Like you run into some people and you throw something out and it just dies.
It just goes there and dies, yeah.
You give me a bad time, and then we start riffing back and forth. But maybe something comes from that. Maybe it doesn't.
And maybe it doesn't, yeah.
But you shift and you keep going. You don't give up on it. And you don't give up on that sort of collaboration, and that's the one thing that I really love. They talk about, creative people a lot of times are pretty vulnerable, and you don't. You think your idea is precious. I was talking to one songwriter, and he said, "When I got to Nashville, I thought all my ideas were precious." And he said, after about a year in, I realized none of them are precious, and there will always be more ideas. And just if something doesn't hit, let it go and move on to the next thing, and trust yourself that you're going to have as good, if not a better idea down the road.
That's a lot of belief in yourself. Well, about 3 or 4 months ago, I had a birthday party, and I don't know why I invited you, but I did, and you actually came, which was another shock.
I don't know why I came.
But here's the thing I wanted to ask you about. So I had never really, except for going into your studio while you guys were on break, I never really listened to you on the radio, and what's Tom all about? But at this party, there were a couple times where you were telling stories, okay? You were telling a story about John Cougar Mellencamp and another story, I think, about something that happened at work and stuff, and it came through, the Tom on the air came through because you were a really good storyteller, and that's a compliment to people because a lot of people aren't. I'm a terrible storyteller, and others may be a little bit better. But I mean, you told your John Cougar Mellencamp story and everything. So what I wanted to ask you is, as far as when someone says somebody has a sense of humor, a good sense of humor, does that mean they're funny? Does that mean they recognize funny? What does it mean to have a good sense of humor? I'm glad I asked you because I could have asked somebody off camera and I would have got the same response.
I guess they have a good sense of humor if they make you laugh.
No, see, I don't know that. See, that's what I thought. If somebody's funny, they have a good sense of humor, but that isn't, because sometimes I'm a bad audience for like comedians and stuff. So that's because
why are you a bad audience?
I don't laugh. I just go, oh, that was funny.
Is that because
I could have done something better than
you have such a quick mind though, and you are so naturally funny? Do you find, are you one of those people like races to the punchline, like what they're going to do?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I didn't used to, but sometimes I do. Now I don't as much anymore because you get older. You go, what's the point really? But I always thought when someone says somebody has a good sense of humor, does that mean they're funny or does that mean they're receptive to other, funny stuff? And I think you're both. That's why I say that, because you're a great audience too, but you're also, as was evidenced by, telling the stories and everything in your element, you're very funny.
I think I would put it receptive first. I
think so too.
I have friends who they have a great sense of humor. They themselves are not necessarily, but they get nuance, they get subtlety, they get dry humor. Yeah. They get it. And then, that's your poison.
Oh, absolutely. You find those people. You find a good audience person. Whenever you have a party, they're there.
Yeah,
I don't care. It doesn't matter. I would even invite you. Obviously, I already did. Well, I just wanted to take that little side trip and ask you that.
But you are genuinely one of the, and I'm not just. I I know a lot of funny people.
Whoa,
you
there's a
are
flex.
You are one of the. None of them are famous.
Banana Tom, the other Tom Mailey.
But you are one of the quickest, most naturally funny people I've ever known. Like, I love going back and forth with you. Like, I'll be driving home, I know, and you've said a few things today where I'm going to, like, that was funny, too. I completely missed that.
Yeah, that's great. That's why I have so many jobs, because people think I'm funny when they're driving home. We talked about podcasting. You mentioned fishing before.
You know what you are? You're like a human edible. You hit about 45 minutes later.
I do, yeah. Yeah, and then you sit there and go, I'm never going to do that again. And then you eat Fritos. So let's talk about your fishing, because it's almost like it's a passion, right? Is it?
Yes.
It's really a passion. Does it stem from the Northwest and from you doing it as a kid and stuff?
My dad fished, my big brother, and I mean, I've fished ever since. I don't even remember the first fish I ever caught. It's just something I do. And as I've gotten older, I've fished probably starting 2 or 3 years that we got down here. I grew up fishing in Puget Sound in the Northwest for salmon and stuff. And down here, it probably 94, 95, I got my first boat here, and just kind of, it's just, I love it. It's almost, it is like telling a story and getting the reaction you want. It's kind of similar. You're out there in the boat and you're waiting for that rod tip to start dancing. And I don't care if it's a 10-pound salmon out of Folsom Lake, and there are 10-pound salmon in Folsom Lake, or a 6-inch little bluegill. I get the same rush, that same dopamine flush every single time I see it, and I love it.
Well, I see you tweeting a lot. First of all, it's you and a fish, which is fascinating, by the way. But secondly, also you comment sometimes on the state of the lakes or the rivers or whatever. And I'm wondering, does the fishing just kind of make you into a kind of an environmentalist in a way? Are you kind of on the lookout for ways to preserve the environment? Because I think fishermen would probably do that.
Yeah, I think conservation is a better term.
Yeah, okay,
and I think
it is a better term. Thank you.
People
write that down, Susan.
Don't realize that fishermen and women and hunters are very much like a lot of the wildlife that we have are due to. Most people who hunt and fish really care about their quarry, and we want to see that preserved for future generations.
Yeah, that really comes through, I think, in your tweets and stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's so important. It just, for an example, the Sacramento River has the second largest run of king salmon in the lower 48. People think, I got to go to Alaska to get a 30-pound king salmon. You can get them out of the Sacramento River. In fact, if you go to a restaurant and you order wild Alaska-caught salmon, there's a good chance that salmon came from the Sacramento River watershed.
So they're Sacramento king salmon.
Yes. Well,
slap a logo on them.
I know.
Light the beam. What are we doing?
I think the team should do like a Sacramento King fish night.
I love it.
But the thing is, California doesn't care about the salmon the way Oregon and Washington and Alaska do.
Okay.
It's California there's so many different varied interests in this state. It's about number 190 on a list of 300 things, and so it gets neglected. And so there's like no fishing in the Sacramento River this year. There was none off the coast because the population's plummeted. Not many people even know that, and it's several times in the last 10 years, the salmon run on the Sacramento, the fall salmon run, has come perilously close to being endangered. And like nobody cares. And you've got to get people who don't fish to care.
Right, exactly.
And
so you have to get them educated.
Exactly. Yeah, because the salmon they're the canary in the coal mine. If the salmon population in the river goes, then the rest of the river's ecosystem is in dire straits.
I hear you, and that sounds like a job for Banana Tom.
So
we'll see you later.
Or Stretch McAllister or whatever.
Stretch Bergmeyer. Yeah, he had some pretty good ones. So first of all, thanks for coming by and spending so much time. I did want to go into another thing out of the radio studio you like to do, and that's you're a recreational hoopster. I think, and I've been asked a lot, how good is Tom at being, hoopster?
Not very.
And I say he's a recreational rotation player. So what that means is if you're trying to keep the court, he's not going to be your first 3 choices. But if you need to fill out your 5, and there's, you have 4 and you don't, and you're looking around and he's, shooting another basket, hey, buddy, come on over. Tom Mailey's on your team.
I'm here.
Yeah.
And
I love your videos that you put out. And obviously you have a sense of humor about it because you're a very old man playing basketball.
Yes, I'm 60, and I play with a guy named Dave Grasshoff. If you watch Good Day
Oh,
Sacramento,
yeah, the camera guy Dave, right?
yeah, and there's two Daves. There's nice camera guy Dave on
Yes.
Good Day Sacramento, and there's under the basket Dave, which you
Elbow
know,
Dave?
Yeah, keep your hands away from under the basket Dave. He can still play. He just turned 58. I'm 60 next month, but we still play at CalFit in Roseville. Come on out.
Yeah, I love it.
And what's fun is we've got a whole bunch of young guys that play. And it's various levels of ability. I'm below all of them. One day, just to fill out so we could play fours, there were a couple of 12-year-olds on the sidelines. They were like 7th or 8th grade. It was right after school let out.
Oh, good.
Did I tell this one?
Well, no,
Did I tell you this?
No, it's just it sounds weird that you're hanging around after school waiting for kids to come home. It doesn't-
we were already there. The kids showed up, and we needed to fill out so we could play fours.
Tell yourself what you need to hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is I had a 12-year-old guarding me, and I'm on the left side of the basket.
I'll take Grandpa.
And exactly. And I'm like, and this kid looks like he's just this spindly little, 7th grader. And I decide, you know what? Screw this kid. I'm going to the rack.
Take him to the hoop.
So I went to the rack on him, and I go up left side, and I get about right here, and the kid swats the ball so hard it bounces off of the backboard and comes back out on the right side of the key, okay? So now I'm humiliated. I just got posterized by a 12-year-old. So I turn around, and I see the ball, and I see this 12-year-old with the ball, and he's dribbling. And I'm like, I'm tenacious now.
You're going after him?
So I go after it, and I picked that kid. I picked him clean.
Yes, Grandpa.
And that's when they told me that he was my teammate. The two 12-year-olds, I got them mixed up.
So you told the ball from the wrong 12-year-old.
Yep.
Maybe that's why you're a rotational player. Well, I have a bone to pick with you about basketball.
And by the way, when we used to play a lot together regularly, Phantom was the chef because he would serve it up.
That, I don't know what that means.
You gave yourself that nickname.
I did. You're not supposed to self-gloss, but I did. So I remember.
Gave you a chef's hat for your birthday.
You did, and I still have it. Yeah, I think.
Kind of disappointed not wearing
I turned it into a safari hat.
Okay.
So it was about 2006, as I recall, and Louise Turner was working with you guys at the time, and her son Elston Jr. was at Roseville High, and so we played a charity game at Roseville High School. Do you remember this?
Are you going to bring this up?
Well, not the way you think. So I remember this game. It was like, 17 years ago, mostly positively. But there's one bone I have to pick with you. First of all, for me, this was 2006, so my mom was 80 years old. She lived in Vallejo. She drove up to see the game. Last time she came up.
I didn't know
Last time she drove up, I mean, she passed at 87. So the rest of the 7 years, I went down there all the time. But this is the last. She came up to watch the game. And I'll never forget, I had the beautiful stat line. I remember my stat line: 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists.
Who remembers their stat line?
That was my stat line. That was my stat line because that's the last game I played. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. And I remember we went to dinner afterwards. My mom says, "You play like you always did," and I don't know if that was a compliment or not. I know, but she came 80 years old. What are you going to say to her? So I remember that all the time because that's a fantastic memory. Also, Stephon Page was on my team. Do you remember this? From the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yep.
He was on my team. It was the first time, and I got
Wasn't there Ryan Dinwiddie? Do I have that name right? From Del Oro?
That's
quarterback for
Elk Grove, I think he's from Elk Grove.
Maybe that's what it was.
Well, I remember getting a rebound, one of my 4 rebounds, and passing it down for one of my 4 assists on a long Kevin Love pass down to Stephon Page.
Yes.
Which is the only time I ever had an assist to a guy who was on my fantasy team. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Memories.
But here's the bone I have to pick with you, and it's not what you think.
Okay.
You think it's the at the end of the third quarter, I was inbounding the ball on the sideline, and you broke across the key, and I hit you with a perfect pass, and you missed the shot at the buzzer.
Yeah.
And I was giving you crap about that, but who's going to make a 14-foot jumper? I know I wasn't, so it didn't make any difference. No, here's the thing I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
So there was a big, I don't remember if it was halftime or third quarter, whatever. There was a big day like, hey, we want to honor the oldest guy to come out and play in this game. And so you gave a speech about some guy who was sitting on the end of the bench and he hadn't even got off the bench. And he's like played like 1 minute, okay? This is Jimmy over here. Well, this is Banana Joe over here. He's the greatest player, and he's 47 years old. Let's hear it for him. And there was a big ovation. And I'm sitting on the bench going, what the hell? I'm 53 and I'm out here playing against these 20-year-old kids and little Banana Joe's over there getting an award.
That wasn't me talking.
Well, was somebody talking? I had the guy by 6 years. Come on, and I'm playing. I'm a rotation player. He's sitting on the end of the bench, and he gets the award and the applause. Oh, 47? How could he even move out there? I'm fighting kids for rebounds in here. What's going on?
I honestly don't
My
remember
goodness.
that. I also think that game was the one where the halftime entertainment, and there were like 15 people in the stands, as there usually are.
Oh, I don't know. I think it was a pretty good. My mom was there, so don't be talking about
16.
the 15.
David Garibaldi did a painting.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
How amazing.
Yeah.
Was that kind of before he was David Garibaldi?
Yeah, we were like, what is this?
Because he got in the corner and he's doing all this stuff.
I think he did Ray Charles, if I remember right.
What's wrong with this guy in the corner? Wait, where's Banana Tom? Come on. No, I always remember that was a great game, and there are a lot of great memories around that game.
Yeah.
Tom, you're the best, man. Thanks so much for coming by. Thanks so much for being a guest, and I really appreciate it.
This was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Stones McCoy, Behind the Glass, thanks a lot. Thanks to everybody for watching.
Shout out to Tom Mailey, the weather forecaster in Buffalo.
Yes. Please get in touch with our guy. He really, really misses you.
Hit me up.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Phantom Talk Show.